Hello again. Some viewers will be aware that Sam Melia, who is married to Laura Towler of the Patriotic Alternative Group, has been convicted of publishing or distributing material intending to stir up racial hatred and encouraging or assisting the commission of the offence of racially aggravated criminal damage. To obtain the desired verdict in the case, all manner of irrelevant material and untruthful claims were made in the court. In the description to this video, I give a link to the website of the Crown Prosecution Service, which gives a brief account of the trial. Click on it for yourselves and have a look and see what you make of what they say. Let me quote. Following a search of Melia's home, police discovered a book by Oswald Mosley, who founded the British Union of Fascists, a poster of Hitler and a Nazi emblem. The prosecution said these were key signs of Melia's ideology. This was an important point in the case because the evidence was not terribly strong, and these what they discovered while having a poke around in his home seemed to be their way of bulking up the case a little. The absurdity of such a claim should be obvious to the meanest intelligence, but if not, perhaps I can show viewers one or two items from my own home. Behold, Exhibit 1, a cast metal bust of Vladimir Ilyich Ulyanov, more commonly known as Lenin. It lives on my kitchen window sink, and I see it every time I do some washing up. I wonder if regular viewers of this channel really think that this image is a key sign of my ideology, as the portrait of Hitler was said to be in Sam Melia's case. It is rather a key sign that I was in Leningrad back when Brezhnev was in charge of the Soviet Union. Every home had one of these, as well as shops, offices, and even public lavatories. After spending time in Leningrad in the early 1980s, I could hardly leave without acquiring such an image. But wait, look what I also found in one of my bookshelves. The German Ideology by Marx and Engels. This is by way of being a very old and familiar text to me, and it details the materialist conception of history and the origin of political ideology, and I broadly agree with the thesis which Marx and Engels advance in the German Ideology. Does either this book or the bust of Lenin indicate that I'm actually a communist or a Marxist-Leninist? I will leave viewers to guess the answer to that. What's more, aha, here is a book about it's the plans for the Nazi conquest of Britain. Not only that, it has a Nazi emblem on it. Does this give a clue about my ideology? What about these books? The Quran. Dictionary of Arabic and Islamic Proverbs. The Way of the Sufi, Idris Shah. Does that tell people that I'm an Islamist or a Muslim? I suspect that those who come regularly onto this channel will think it unlikely in the extreme that I am either a communist or an Islamist. If the police searched my home and found these things, they could quickly find other communist material and also Muslim and Nazi stuff and use it to build a case which revealed me to be either a communist or a neo-Nazi or a supporter of Hamas or Hezbollah, depending entirely upon what the Crown Prosecution Service wanted a jury to believe me to be. I have reason to believe that if the police had kept searching Sam Melia's home, They would have found some extreme left-wing material too, but this would not have been as impressive for their case as to mention the book by Oswald Mosley and the picture of Hitler. The idea was not to present the evidence and allow the jury to decide. It was to show only evidence which had been carefully curated to give a certain impression. The stickers around which the case also hinged bore slogans such as "Reject white guilt" and "Nationalism is nurture." Would these really assist the commission of the offence of racially aggravated criminal damage? I'm guessing that this rather depends whether or not you think that putting stickers up in public actually constitutes criminal damage in the first place. This may technically be the case, but viewers might like to stop for a moment at this point and think of all the posters which they have seen covering the windows of empty shops or on walls and so on, you know, the kind of thing, advertising a fair coming to an area or a pop concert or some other attraction. Has anybody watching this video ever heard of somebody putting up these big posters ever being charged with committing criminal damage? No, they haven't. And yet these little stickers were likely to cause criminal damage. It sounds unlikely. This was essentially a political case. It's possible to enter the home of any thinking person and rifle through the bookcases to make a case of any sort against the owner of the books. This is not commonly done in this country, or perhaps I should say it has not commonly been done in this country up until now, because we don't generally think it a good thing to try and send a man to prison based upon what books he happens to have in his home. In fact, until quite recently, we regarded tactics of that kind when used by the police as detestable and showing that the police were acting in a politically biased manner, as indeed seems to have been the case here. Another well-known figure on what is generally known by the media as the far right is Tommy Robinson. Before Christmas, he was arrested for eating breakfast at a cafe near the Royal Courts of Justice in the Strand. A large Zionist demonstration was being held and the organisers said that they did not wish him to attend, and so of course the Metropolitan Police ordered him from the area. I wonder how often the police in London allow the organisers of demonstrations to dictate to them who they should allow near their protest march. Anyway, when Tommy Robinson refused to leave the area near the Strand, he was arrested, his hands fastened behind his back, and he was sprayed in the face with a form of tear gas known as pepper spray. Now he is being tried for disobeying the police. This again is the kind of trial we would once have been shocked to see. A man arrested not because of actually doing anything, but rather because the police said he had no right to be in that part of the capital city. These are strange times in which we live, and my own impression is that the police and courts are being used politically in a way which would never have happened a few years ago, but which many people now simply take for granted.